What up, what up? It's Lady Purm, LADIEPURM.com, and this guy right here just so happens to be the one and only Tempe's own born son, Prophetico.
What uppers?
This guy right here is family, so
yes, this is sis right here.
I just love that he's hanging out with
day one.
Yes, which reminds me, day one, this time about last year was the first time that we actually formally met.
Yes.
And we were over there at the Urban Cuts.
Yes.
Off of 1400 South McClintock in the Kings Plaza. Shout out
1400 block, Mr. McClintock.
And which is also the original stomping grounds of Mr. Fenzarelli himself.
Indeed.
Rest in peace, Fins.
Let me see your
Fins
grill.
for life. But from day one, absolutely, it was just like immediate. I mean, this guy is a lyrical just phenomenal. I mean, smart, brilliant. You listen to his lyrics, and majority of his music, I mean, hardly ever any cursing, no gang banging, no drug dealing, a little bit of Henny.
A shot or two. I'm grown. A shot or two never hurt anyone.
But he actually is out here making noise in the hip hop community with actually being bold enough to stay away from the things that sell, like money, pussy, and weed. Tell us a little bit about your music.
I don't know what to say about my music. It's not really. It's just a gift. It's a talent that I have. I'm a writer by nature, and just so happens to fit over music and melodies and things of that nature. So I guess it comes from the calling. You know what I'm saying? My name comes from my aunt who gave it to me. I was always called prophet or proph at some point, you know. So my calling was maybe to be a preacher of some sort, be in the church, and I took it a different route. You know, I can do the same thing just through hip hop, and I always wanted to be that one artist to ride that line that can teach you that you can have faith in your higher sources, and you can still be cool and be hip hop, because hip hop allows you don't have to put up a front and things like that. So that's what my music tries to express, is that you can tell your story and get deep without having to live up to the stereotypes that you see on TV and in these videos.
Right, and when I say that this cat reps Tempe, we are actually right here in his stomping ground. So you can find this man with a backpack, skateboard, a dictionary, a thesaurus, a pen, and a paper
on
at any given time. And this light rail is where it happens. So speaking of your mother, your first track on Second Thoughts is actually about your mom, which is a very personal topic. And just knowing you personally, I know that you went through a very dark place in dealing with the things about your mother. If you're comfortable enough, you want to talk a little bit about that?
That's all good, yeah. Basically, it was just a weird situation where my mother got sick one day. One day she got short of breath, and she went to the doctor to go check it out. And they didn't know what was going on. They thought it was pneumonia or whatever. She had fluid on her lungs. They drained the fluid. Turned out that she was stage 4 cancer. It had already spread through her whole body. That day, the doctors gave her 2 weeks maybe to live, like straight up right then. And it was just a big shock to the whole family, everybody. We didn't know exactly how to take it, so I was really taken back by it. I was offended by somebody telling me how long my mother had and all this, because she's like the perfect person. She never cussed, never drank, raised her children, stayed married, dedicated her whole life to her God and her family, and who's to say that her God's not going to come through for her, and whatever the situation was. So we did a lot of talking towards the end, when she was starting to fade and things were starting to happen, and she made me basically make 3 promises. She made me promise to get strong for my family and the people around me, because they're going to need me, and she made me to promise to forgive, because I have a problem of harboring a lot of feelings and emotions. So she made me promise to forgive people and learn to let go of things, and she made me promise to finish my songs and to get back on this music, because she knew that's where my happiness was, and through that to find happiness. So it took 2.5, 3 years after she passed for me to find the strength to get up off the floor and start working on a project. So it's crazy, like you were saying, a year ago, it was last February, I picked up a pen, started writing. I called Kamani one day and booked out 10 hours of studio time over here at Urban Cuts, and I wrote songs. Every day, and that's what became the album, and that's what it is.
I must say, I'm blessed because I actually got to watch this man write. I got to watch this man in the booth, and I watched him grow.
Yeah.
The first time I was introduced to Prophetico, Isaiah the Wordsmith, was through the Supreme 16s. And he had dropped his submissions, and then it just kind of went from there. But speaking of with the second thoughts, I just want to first and foremost say how proud I am of this guy right here, because he did what he said he was going to do. He didn't bullshit. He didn't sit in the studio and just drink and kick it and do all that. When it was time to work, it was time to work. And yeah, we had some good times. We had some fun.
We made the news. We made the news a couple of nights.
Yeah, we had some fun. But you know what? In the midst of it all, the day that we went to the Hidden House and I watched you do your album release party, it was just the smile. I've never seen you smile that big.
That's the first time I started smiling. And you can talk. You can ask Farrah about it. You know, like that's one of my best friends in the world.
Shout out.
And,
I love you.
And like she'll tell you, I don't smile. I never did. That's when I first started smiling. I didn't know how to smile. I never felt happy really, I guess. And that night was a culmination of a lot of things. I cried that night, and it was a lot of work. And
your father was there.
Yeah, my dad was there, family was there, my sister was there. It was crazy. A lot of them, it was the first time ever seeing me perform. So it was an emotional night, and my mom was there. She was in the building, you know what I'm saying? It's her in spirit and leading me on, so it was dope. And like you were saying, like that's what it's about. It's about doing what you say you're gonna do. Like I made a promise, and at some point, being man, woman, human being, you have to discipline yourself and do what you say you're going to do. You have to be a stand-up person. Your word is your bond. The Bible says that. The Quran says that. It's a principle in all foundations. Like you have to do what you say you're going to do. So I want to try to be an inspiration to others. Like it doesn't matter what it is. If it's music, if it's wanting to be a doctor, lawyer, if you want to flip and be the best basket weaver you can be, start now. If you say you're going to do it, do it. Put it in the universe. Put it out there. Positive things will come back. Doesn't matter if my album sells a 1 copy or 100 copies. I did what I said I was going to do. I put positive into the energy, into the universe, and it's going to come back to me. There's you can't stop that. So I got good coming.
Right. And by the way, if you have not checked out Second Thoughts, shame on you. There is a collection of real hip hop. One track is no better or no less than the one before it or after it. It's actual substance to hip hop. So leading in to address some things that's going on in the hip hop community that that you notice, you observe, that just needs to be addressed.
To me, like the biggest thing out here is the separation. Like it's to me, it feels like there's a complete separation in the music. Like there's different. Of course, everybody has their different styles and the different likes as far as preferences as far as music is concerned, but in any other state or culture or city that they're happening or urban surrounding, these music places and these situations are all in one spot. You can still go find them. They're all hanging out together. You go to New Orleans, everybody who jams at the same spot, knows each other, kicks it, and it works with each other and works well. Out here it's completely separated. Like we have a certain style of hip-hop that doesn't listen to a whole other certain style of hip-hop, and they do not intersect at all, so for whatever reasons. And I think that's the biggest problem right here, and we're never going to be a unit. We'll always be like this until we become this, and I don't see us being able to get like this until we open up our minds and be willing to listen to new things and try new stuff. So
do you have any suggestions on how we can start?
Just put a CD in. Like people, we're out here, we're all out here hustling. Like you give me your CD, I listen to it. Do the same thing. Don't be afraid of this. Just because I look like this and you know what I'm saying, dress like this, listen to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And you can't judge a book by its cover. I learned that last week at the Underground Railroad, Respect the Underground Rhythm and Soul, where I even talk about in the Dime Rap video with Kim, Black Monroe, how I had referred to him as Ving Rhames, and once again, that was not a diss. That was a compliment. But when you look at certain artists, you automatically think you know what they're bringing to the hip hop world, and so you're right on point with that. Now let's talk a little bit about. Let's get intimate. We're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Tempe and how much of an influence Tempe and actually what started you in music.
Tempe's influence is huge. It's like this is where I learned how to MC. Like when I first got serious about trying to rap and trying to write, formulate songs and do all that, it was probably like 97, 98. And it was like, okay, how am I going to do this? I'm going to write this down and formulate songs. And I started going to shows. You step outside, you start going to shows, and I would see cats like Morse Code and Drunken Immortals and just groups out here that are actually legendary. Bionic Jive, Akko Mac, out here doing shows like that found the foundation of hip hop. They were opening doors and showing you how to perform, and I watched those guys and basically studied these cats, and then being able to go outside and have every pretty much race represented. You know, I can go kick it with skaters, or I could go kick it at the library, and then if I wanted to go hang out in this particular crowd of hip hoppers, I could go do that. And having access to all the shows, to me, I rep Tempe because it's a hip hop community. Like every hip hop show that's ever come out here has come to Tempe. You have to come to Tempe if you want hip hop. The first time I saw Biggie Smalls, he was in Tempe. The first time I saw Elzai, he was in Tempe. The first time I saw flipping Atmosphere or Aesop Rock or flipping anyone you can think of, it was all here in Tempe. So this is the stomping ground. They say it's because it's a college city, whatever, but for whatever reason you have to respect it. There's a lot of versatility. You jump on the bus, you get kids, little white kids will wearing those headphones. These dudes will serve you. Don't think that they will rap your face off.
Right.
We don't play games. They will get off their skateboard and serve you. Just don't yeah, like I said, don't judge a book by its cover. We're very diversified out here.
Absolutely. So. Now on Facebook, under Isaiah the Wordsmith, you are pretty well known for your one-liner statuses that are real funny and comical. You bring that comedy to being the self-proclaimed side dude,
yes,
which he won a Purm award for.
Proud moment.
But underneath all the comical undertones does lie a man who respects the value of relationships, and also in his music it's influential. Tell us a little bit about your take on relationships and relationships in the hip hop as an artist.
It's pretty weird. Like like I said, I do a little thing, like I play on the side, do a thing because I'm single and I've been single for a while, and that's what happens. You know, I think the way that I look at it is when you're single, we're all side dudes. We're in a society now where everyone has trust issues. We're all damaged goods. We've all been through stuff. We've all gone through the worst. So I don't believe you. So it's pretty much like that. So when you meet me and you're like, oh my gosh, you're so nice, and I'm like, are you talking to somebody? You're like, no, I'm not talking about you. I'm your side dude already. We start off as I'm on the side, because you can't tell me that you're not in a point at your life where no one is speaking to you and you have no interest. That means you've been in a closet.
Right.
You know, so.
Now, are you waiting for that special someone to come and make you an actual title besides the side dude?
No, I'm not waiting for any kind of like person to come do anything like that. It's in God's time. Like, we're all called to do different things in life, you know what I mean? Like, some people are called to be mothers and fathers and educators and things of that nature. Like, I'm prophetical, I'm a prophet. Like, I'm called to travel the world, and hopefully one day after I get my message out, you know what I'm saying, God will bring me somebody that I can settle down with and do those kind of things. But until then, all I'm trying to do is just wait and be patient, you know, until that arrives. So it's not really on me. Right.
So on Facebook, that lady consists of being able to cook, twerk, and but what would that woman be like?
I have no idea, and that's the whole thing about the whole little Facebook comment. Like when I do my future wife, it's such a metaphor. It's such a metaphor, and I'm glad I get a chance to explain it, because every example that I give is make believe. It can be, you can replace any of those with whatever you want. My wife is going to be everything she wants to be. Whatever it is she wants to do, she's going to be able to do it in front of me and be comfortable with it. I don't care what it is. I'm going to accept her fully. So those are just examples that I give. I might say she might twerk, she might change like your brakes or whatever I might say, but those are things that she's going to want to do and that she's going to be into, and I'm going to accept her fully for those things. I'm never going to ask her to change herself, so she's going to be a handful.
That's awesome. Yeah. So give me some people that influence you, that you respect and admire out here in the hip-hop community.
To shout out Akko, like I said, Akko Mac, man, that was one of the first dudes I ever seen get on stage, and I learned a lot from that cat. Like Spanfly is one of the dopest rappers right now that I know out here, easily in the scene. Like Rocky Tirade, Realistic. These cats are all random. Mega Ran, of course. These cats are all here in Arizona because they live here. That's where they reside. But they are also so worldwide and so out there doing so much work and so respected everywhere else they go. And every time they do a composition or a musical album or anything like that, they step the bar up, and it makes me work harder. Like the project I'm working on now, thanks to those dudes, I'm pushing myself farther than I've pushed myself because of their project. So yeah.
And one thing that I respect is that you work with so many people from so many different types of style that fit within hip hop, like Ashley Anderson, Nick Norris, Terry's son. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think like there's so much talent around us. It's crazy. Like everywhere you look, there's somebody that's really talented. Arizona gets slept on because we're a melting pot, but a lot of people come from a lot of places and they have talent. And you can't, like I said, never judge a book by its cover. And I believe strongly in like the female talent out here. Every one of my projects has multiple female artists on it, and I do that on purpose.
Right, Mystic, Honey. I mean,
they get no love because people look, oh, she's a girl because he has a cute face with her. No, these people are really talented artists that need to be, as men and as the pushers of this hip hop, whatever, we need to push, you know what I'm saying, and put that behind them, because we have, believe it or not, we have that say so. If you're a shot caller out here and you put MC so-and-so on your page and you say, hey, go listen to him, you can do the same for a female and get her that same push, and people will flock to it. So you have to understand the power we have, and we need to help our sisters and lift their music the same. So there's a lot of talent. And
come on, ladies, where are you?
And like even with tomorrow, like for instance, like we're doing the show, the video shoot with Jack the Mac. That's completely whole different avenue. It's a whole other world. It's like a spectrum over. And you can just be able to, when you're an artist, you should be able to get out of your car and sit in somebody's car.
I see you, bro. Greedy Gonzalez, and this will be a Bod's Gym, and
the zoo in the building.
Yes. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's actually going to be in every Sunday, or once a month. This Sunday is the one that you guys, so yes, we are pre-recording this video before the feature drops, but that's actually a great place. So if you're an artist and you're looking to mix and mingle with other artists, and that can actually help you grow and give you a different flavor, Greedy Gonzalez, Emmy, Tino, all of that, aka right. They're actually, Bod's Gym is the spot right now that is offering that. What are some other spots that you are dedicated to that you like to perform at?
Basically, I'm a hip hop house. Basically, that's my stuff. Me, Nick Norris, DJ Fat 135, Caitlin. We all like come together to do the hip hop house at Hidden House in Phoenix. And then we have Worst Case Wednesdays that we support with Worst Case Radio and the Worst Case Scenario crew, and that's on Mill and Baseline, the Up the Smoke Shop. We do First Fridays. Every first Friday we got a nice corner on Roosevelt and Central right in front of the light rail outside. We do the 4 elements of hip hop, where it's graph writers, break dancers, MCs, and DJs out there going wild.
And that's where the what's that one crew that
Foot Clan?
Yes.
Yeah, Foot Clan's out there. Rocky Tirade just shot.
I heard you're an aspiring Foot Clan member.
I want to. I've auditioned 4 times and failed 4 times.
Well, if they ever need a skateboarder, holla at my boy.
You know,
he can just roll right past y'all, do the intro. He can do all kick push. I mean, holla at my boy. So what do you see coming up here in the hip hop community, and what can we do to be more supportive as a culture, because we really are a culture?
Oh yeah. I think technology's made us lazy pretty much. I think the best thing that we can do is just get up. Like it's cool to say you support somebody and support a cause, but if there's something out there you like and there's a certain style of music or an artist that you're a fan of, really be a fan. Like, remember what it's like to be a fan. Go buy a poster, spend $5 on it. Don't just get the free download. Don't just like the picture because it's a picture. Go to the event, go check it out, shake hands, do all those things. Technology's made us lazy. We don't go out and meet and greet anymore. We're not out here curb hustling anymore like we used to. Everybody wants to do everything through text message and Facebook. So I think we just need to, as a community, remember what got us here. Hip hop started out in the park. It started out in the park, not in your computer room or on a computer screen. It's out here. We're all functioning, networking together, and we need to have more places where we come together to make hip hop live. Without that, it's gonna get lost in the inner buttons and you turn turns and deletes.
Now, by the time this feature actually drops, the previous feature would have been with Conscious, aka C Alpha, and one thing that we addressed in the interview was he had said that one of the biggest obstacles for the Arizona hip hop community, and being that this is considered like a retirement state, people come here primarily to retire. Do you see that being an obstacle? And
hell no.
No.
What do retirees have?
Mm-hmm. Money.
How is that a problem? How is that? I'm
and he wasn't saying it's a problem.
No,
and he gave the resolution. Y'all will know that he gave the resolution in
I'm just saying, I'm trying to think for myself personally. Just personally, it doesn't affect me. I'm a businessman. I know what I can, and I'm an artist. My music is universal. I can sell a record to a 74-year-old with no problem. I don't have to put edits on it or nothing. They can relate. I don't have to dumb it down or anything. Yeah, man, bring them out here. It's all good.
And I think that's also a great point, is because you have the gift to get to people and get to them on their level. Like you said, you could talk to that 75-year-old man. You can talk to the white people, the Mexicans. You're very well spoken, and I think that's what a lot of hip hop artists nowadays, because they come up with their appearance, jeans sagging down, wearing, not that it's bad, but you're kind of, when you limit yourself to a certain look, then you're only relying on a certain group of people, and if those group of people aren't supporting you, then what?
And then you're pigeonholing yourself. You're pigeonholing yourself with a certain look, a certain sound, a certain style. So if that's not yourself, and if you're not being yourself, you're definitely putting a ceiling on your own growth. If you're dumbing it down and doing all those things. So just be true to who you are and push. You shouldn't have to worry about any. There's no such thing as a bracket. There's no such thing as a border. There's nothing that can encave you or enclose you unless you create that. So
now describe Proph's style, because every time you're out, you never look the same.
That's
right.
That's
Fans for life.
Yeah, that's what hip hop is, yo. That's what hip hop is. Like, hip hop is different. Every year it changes. So why not? Hip hop is being as original as you can. That's the whole point of it. You should never bite anybody. You used to get beat up for having the same shoes or the same clothes on as somebody. Now motherfuckers go buy matching shirts. The fuck kind of
I've seen it.
You want to go buy a matching shirt? Yeah, whatever. But it's all about being as different as you can be. That should be your point every time you wake up, is to not look like that dude over there. You want to look completely different and separate yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's
I think we do a pretty good job.
We do. Then nobody ever. When you hear Lady Purm, how many people turn around when you hear that name called? Only you, right? There's no mistaking
only
it.
me. And I love the fact that, with the hair and everything, and when I say I'm Lady Purm, the first thing they do is look at the hair like they're clueless. And I actually go and I have a blog where I kind of describe the hair, the frames, because it's deeper than just the in-your-face look. The frames, no lenses, means one, they're hater inviters. The Mexican culture has the hater blockers with the looks, so I got the hater inviters because I love them too. I want them to look at Lady Purm too, but it also represents that I see. I'm a little bit more conscious than what I perceive myself to be as an image, I think. So that's it too. So what would you say that with your style, is there anything significant that has an actual deeper meaning than what people think?
Oh yeah, I think the whole look of it has a different meaning, a deeper meaning than what it looks like. I mean, you look at me like, all right, so for instance, like I get a lot, like I look different, my hair, the way I dress, whatever you want to call it, the way I do all my little things is a little intricate, so. But I always have dope shoes though. I always have.
Yeah, he does.
You know what I'm saying? These are penny too, very exclusive. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's like one of those things where people look at me like one of the most like, he dates white girls. You know what I'm saying? You look like he dates white girls. You ever hear something like that? Like I've heard that a lot.
He has a shirt that says he loves white girls. Or white girls love him.
They love me. They love me. Let's get that right. So it's like one of those things where you look at me and you might stereotype whatever you might see, and I think that's the whole concept. I dress the way I dress, so you do that. I want you to think I'm soft. I want you to think I'm weird. I want you to think all that until you fucking test me, until you do that, and then you'll answer all questions and everything will be cool. But please go ahead, judge this book by a cover and read the story of your life. Fuck around and be in a situation. But it's just one of those things where it's all a big metaphor. My whole life is a metaphor. Everything is a metaphor. I want you to look at me a little bit different and question what you're seeing and wonder about it. You know what I mean? And
tell me about some of the producers that you've worked with that have been influential in your music.
Yeah, I got a handful of good producers out here. One of the main producers that I work with is Zilla, and he's from Germany. He's the one who did the main work on the Second Thoughts album, and he is amazing. Like, he did every song, like all the songs you probably a fan of, he's probably did that. And out here, you know, there's Arza, you got Racine, who did some music on mine, ATM, Kamani Kim, he does the artwork and the motherfucking production. He did my album cover. Let's see. Oh, Spanfly did a couple songs for me. Man, there's so many talented producers out here that are multitasking, and you just gotta holler at them, and talent respects talent. So, and light attracts light. So it's just easy to have a lot of dope, talented people around you. That's how we met. Light attracts light.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for a dope producer out there that's professional, one, two's gonna give you those bangers that such as on Second Thoughts, then just check out those names and reach out. Don't be afraid. I know a couple of them, and I would say don't be afraid to inbox, share, add a friend. You know what I'm saying?
Work, work.
It's all, at the end of the day, it's all about team do work. So what's coming up next for Proph?
The EP, I'm working on an EP right now called More Words, and it should hopefully be done in the next month or so. DN3 is the exclusive producer on it, which I have no idea how that happened. That's the work of God, so I have no clue how. That's just so dope. And so he's like, he's the man behind the project, so I'm just chilling, doing the writing and getting everything aligned. It's full of amazing features. Like, I don't know how it started off as just a regular EP. I didn't want any features on it, but then word got out, and it just grew into something. And that's why it's called More Words, because now there are way more words than ever intended, and way more people on it than I ever planned for. And I have nothing.
And educate the people on those that don't know the difference between an EP and an LP, like Lady Purm.
An LP is an actual album, a full-length album. That's anywhere between 9 and
12,
13.
like 12, 13, yeah.
Anything over 9 songs or anything over 13 songs, it's just filler, you know what I'm saying? So an album stops at like 12, 13 songs. EP is anywhere between 6 and 8, and you sell it for probably half the price, for like $6, $7. Full albums you sell for, you know, they're $10, $12, things like that, and they have.
Ooh, educate them on how to make their money.
You know,
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Now, as far as like, because I mean, you came through with more than what I would have ever expected with the Second Thoughts album. I mean, the cover was dope, the photography was dope, just the layout was dope, how you had it even packaged was dope. How much time and dedication does that require for you to put that together?
All the artwork and all that, the concepts were the easy part. You know, for writers, that's probably the easiest part of it. But actually getting it to come to fruition is probably the hardest part. It takes a lot of time to find someone who can actually create your image and get your vision that's in your head and put it
that's very
on
hard.
paper. You know?
And so as a photographer, it's not always easy to accomplish.
Not at all. So you have to interview a lot of them and sit down and talk to them and see where their head is, and do a lot of that and make sure you guys are on the same page. I'm a big energy person, so I'm not just going to work with anybody who has a camera just because they have the skills to do it. If our visions aren't the same, if we don't share the same commonalities, and you know, because whoever takes that picture, you're imprinted with me. You're stuck together for life. You know what I'm saying? That's a real bond, and you're going to be a part of this project. And I need your energy, and it has to be all positive all the way around.
So who did the actual photography for
that? Was Empire. Okay. Empire Studios out here. They do a lot of work.
Shout out.
And they do a lot of Spanish videos. They're big on the Spanish network. They have a lot of underground artists that do MTV videos and things of that nature. So.
And then it was actually Hairpin Graphics that went back in and did the finaling touches. Which gave it that more vibrant feel, I think.
Yeah,
it was much more than just a picture.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely
it became art.
It urbanized it, and it was dope. And that's the whole concept of the whole Second Thoughts album, and it fit because everything was rethought at least 2 or 3 times. Every song was rewritten 2 and 3 times. Every word, everything was double, triple checked, and even with the album cover, there's 4 or 5 different versions. And the one that Kamadi did, we finally agreed upon after a hell of nights texting back and forth and yelling and all that. We finally made a decision.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
Fix this, move this, cut this, turn that. No.
And then I can only hear, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Get your shit together, nigga.
No, I'm drunk.
Yeah, I can hear it. So I can only imagine.
Yeah, it was good times.
Now, speaking back to the ladies of hip hop, what are your suggestions as far as like what the women can do to actually evolve more?
Man, I think they're doing everything they can. I think it's up to us to get behind them. I think they're holding it down. They're out there. If you go to these shows and if you're out here on the scene, you'll see these females out here on the bills with you. They got their CDs in their hand. They're out here hustling. They're trying to do it. And you got to respect that. And I just think we just need to get behind them. They're already pushing the forefront open. You know, you got like you said, you got the Mystic Blues, and you got people like Honey, and you got like the Ashley Andersons and Empress, people like that who are not just rappers, they're singers, they play instruments, they do all kinds of other things, poetry, they're in all these different scenes, and they're always multi-talented, booking their own shows, doing everything themselves. We just have to get behind them and support it, man. We just have to start supporting them.
Awesome. Well, either we're really the shit or we're sitting next to a steward, because I'm smelling. I think we are. Yeah. I'm like, are we just the shit? I mean, we are, you know what I mean? But thank you for taking some time out to kick it with your sis.
Thank you.
I love you.
Love you more.
I love everything that you're doing. I'm just, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
And I love to watch you grow. And in between the joking and the comments and the Facebook back and forth, you bring a lot of substance to my life and what I'm doing. So.
And I think it's vice versa. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, where the hell did Purm come from? I just asked her that like 10 minutes ago. Like, where the hell did she come from? Like, she just appeared one day, and she's just here, and she's just in our life, and we love it. You know what I mean? So we're very, very blessed to have you, and it's an honor. Thank you.
One of my official Purm motors. All right, so I think that for everything else, y'all just gonna have to read the article, check out the pictures, check out the links that are gonna be posted on ladypurm.com, LADIEPURM.com, and tell them how they can find you.
You can @ me at Prophetico, or you can pound me or hashtag me at Tempe Zone.
I love it.
What did we say this morning? You could scream "Food's ready" as loud as you can, and I will appear.
I do owe him some breakfast.
And you will pay up.
I'm being held accountable, even though he was supposed to come over for dinner a long time ago.
Yes, it has been. Dinner's been gone.
Dinner's been gone.
It
It's
ain't in the
cold.
microwave no more.
It's cold. I had to throw the microwave away, holding his plate. So we will get together, and Purm will feed Prophetico, because I can't have my brother out here looking like a 10-speed inner tube forever.
Look at this. Look at this.
Flexing. But thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned. And y'all better
Come
not
to Tempe.
sleep on this
Get on the
dude.
light rail. Hop at
Tempe where the pimps be.
Clinton. Come fuck with me.
Salute.